I left my husband and baby for a woman after my diagnosis. Now, I'm dying alone. My name is Ava. I'm 34, and I had everything I thought I wanted. A loving husband, a beautiful baby boy, a home filled with laughter and future plans. But everything changed when I was diagnosed. The words were a blur at first. You have cancer. The world seemed to stop spinning as I sat in that sterile doctor's office, hearing the news like a fog that I couldn't escape. My life, the life I knew, shattered in an instant. When you're faced with your own mortality, you start asking yourself questions you've never thought to ask before. What if I'm not here for my son's first birthday? What if I never get to see him walk or graduate? And most of all, what did I really want out of this life? I had spent years building the perfect life with my husband, Ethan. He was everything I needed: stable, patient, kind. He loved me in a way that was easy to fall into. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the life I built with him wasn't the one I truly desired. There was something missing, something I couldn't explain, and when I found her, everything fell apart. When I found out about my diagnosis, I didn't want to burden anyone. I didn't want to be a sick wife or a sick mother. I told Ethan, of course, but I didn't want to be the person who depended on others. I wanted to feel alive, to be the woman I used to be, to experience something different before it was too late. And that's when I met Sophia. Sophia was different. She was wild, free-spirited, and unpredictable. Everything Ethan wasn't. Everything I wasn't anymore. She reminded me of the woman I used to be, the woman before the diagnosis, the woman before the responsibility of marriage and motherhood. With Sophia, I felt alive. She made me feel like I could still be someone who could chase dreams, not just check off boxes. I found solace in her arms. I knew what I was doing. I knew it was selfish, but in the heat of it all, I didn't care. I convinced myself that I needed to feel something, anything, before time ran out. I made the decision to leave Ethan. I left my family behind and went to be with her. It wasn't that I didn't love Ethan or my son, but I was too lost in my own fear of death and the need for escape to realize the consequences of my actions. Sophia and I moved in together. It was a whirlwind, a dream come true. For a while I felt free from the weight of my illness, free from the constant reminders of everything I had walked away from. But that feeling faded quickly. It wasn't long before the reality set in. I wasn't just running from my family, I was running from myself. I couldn't escape the guilt, the shame. I still thought about Ethan, about my son. I tried to push those thoughts aside, but they always lingered, whispering at the back of my mind. Sophia was kind to me, but she wasn't the kind of person who would take care of me when the time came. She was a reminder of what I wanted, but could never have. She lived for the present, and I was constantly reminded that my present was slipping away. I realized that the freedom I was chasing wasn't the answer, and by the time I wanted to return, by the time I finally recognized that I was meant to be a mother and a wife, it was too late. I remember the last time I spoke to Ethan. He was calm, understanding even, but his voice held a sorrow that I couldn't shake. He told me that he would always love me, but that he couldn't live in the same world I had created for myself. He didn't fight me. He just let me go. And then there was my son. I hadn't even considered how my decision would affect him. He was too young to understand, but I wasn't. I left him behind in search of something that, deep down, I knew wasn't real. Now, I'm left with nothing. Sophia, the woman who once made me feel alive, is distant. She's busy with her own life, her own adventures. She didn't sign up for the slow decline, the nights filled with pain, the constant reminder that I don't have much time left. And here I am, in the silence of my apartment, the cold echo of regret settling in. I am dying, but not just from the cancer. I am dying from the loneliness I created, the relationships I destroyed. I could have had it all, my family, my love, my life, but I chased something that was never meant for me. The hardest part of it all is knowing that no matter how much I want to go back, I can't. Ethan has moved on. My son is growing up without me. And Sophia, she was never meant to be my forever. She was my escape, nothing more. I lie here with my thoughts, and the weight of everything I lost. I am dying. But the hardest part isn't the illness. It's the realization that I let go of everything that mattered most. If you've ever made a decision you regret, something you thought would make you happy in the moment, but it ended up breaking you, I want to hear your story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Maybe we can learn from each other's mistakes before it's too late. I wish I could turn back time, make different choices, and return to the life I once had. I wish I could be the mother and wife I was supposed to be. But now, I'm left with nothing but the consequences of my actions. All I can do is wait for the end, alone with my thoughts, wishing I had stayed. I should have never left.